things like that, you know. Anything to stay busy because I get too twitchy, you know, if I'm at home. So that's what I did at least.
You have to understand that sort of when you're on tour, every day there's a piece of paper that comes under the door of your hotel room, you know, and it tells you what you're going to be doing at what time, you know, kind of thing. So your day is very, very structured, and you get used to letting go of that very much, you know. There's an old sort of story about Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy, you know, calling up his manager saying, you know, what the fuck, you didn't put Christmas on my schedule. You know, how the hell am I supposed to know about this? You know, it's a bit like that. So you get home and it's kind of like, you know, you wake up in the morning and you reach for the non-existent telephone next to your bed going, try to call fucking room service, do you know what I mean, to get a coffee. So it does really take a period of readjustment, and there is a kind of, you know, an emotional come down. And usually what happens as well is that you have a tendency to get quite ill, physically ill, because like your body's been, you know, holding back for so long, you know, all this bacteria and stuff that you pick up from airplanes and some of us pick up from people, you know, and so your body's kind of storing it, and then you get home and finally you relax and you know, just. And then sickness prevails, you know. That's, but it's okay. You know, we're not working in an office.
Stefan, you
Yeah, I'm just saying, when you're on tour, everything, I think, slows down, because what you do in a day is so much more than you would do a day at home. You wake up in one country, you're in a hotel that, you know, it's a strange surrounding, probably a different language spoken that you're used to, and you get on the flight or get on the bus and you go to a different country, different culture, different language, different way of doing things, and then you're in front of a crowd and all the emotions and the adrenaline that gives. And then the whole process after that of trying to come down and also trying to adjust to where you're going to be the next day. So that whole thing is quite intense. So when you come home, it's quite a shock to the body to kind of to go back to something that's very, you know, very slow and everything in one place and everything is the same every day. So that's a period of readjustment that takes the longest for me.
Yeah, right up here.
Yeah, I mean, it's been discussed, and you know, it may be something that we will do in the future, you know.
Yeah, in the back up there.
Were there any elements in the movie that were awkward for you to look back at?
Awkward. Yeah, for me personally, it was the moment when Stefan's on stage in Moscow announcing that I'm unable to return to the stage. That was very, very awkward for me, you know. I was having a nervous breakdown at the time, basically, and then had what I could only sort of experience as a sort of a psychotic episode, and I sort of like thought that the audience were sort of, I imagined that the audience were sort of ripping the flesh from my body and eating it in front of me. It was quite surreal. So I got quite scared, and so I went off stage. And in the dressing room there was sort of like a bench, and at that point I decided that it was physically possible to merge with the wall. So I attempted to do that, and that would, you know, turned out to be physically impossible. You know, and so I sat on the bench, and it was when my manager came and put his arm around me and said, you know, it's okay. You know, said, I think I'm having a nervous breakdown. He said, yeah, you are. But we had a show the next day in that very same venue in front of the same amount of people, and I managed to sort of get myself together to do that and to finish the show that day. You know, so you know, as Steve says very eloquently in the film, you know, everybody has a breakdown on tour, and everybody really sort of has, the pressure can't get to you. It's simply this, how can I put it? You know, the energy that you're giving, you know, to so many people. Sometimes you feel completely empty. Yeah. I think you probably sort of, I think that's why so many artists, so many musicians, you know, have a tendency to anesthetize themselves with alcohol and drugs and things like that so that they can deal with it, but that's not really an option for us anymore. So it's, you know, we feel it, and it's very real, but at least we're feeling it.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,